Got something to say to me?
We're gonna lose if we don't act fast.
I'm not gonna let you ruin all my hard work.
I just had to fix your mistake.
I grew up as a computer scientist. I was trained as a mathematician, physicist, computer scientist, and we didn't have film schools back then. But I was always a storyteller. I loved to write. I worked in theater, in college with dramas and stuff. And that gave me the courage to sort of start looking out of Pakistan and especially US programs. And I got really lucky when Columbia University offered me a Dean's Fellowship to do my marketing in New York. So that was like, no back. I packed my bags, bought a one-way ticket to New York, and landed here in 2001. So it's been 2 decades since, and I've been a filmmaker. I write, direct, and I produce. I'm a feature film. I've made feature films, I've made short films, and the last film that I made was in 2014. And a few years had passed since then, and it was really hard to get another job, So I was looking at these programs, especially the ones that NBC has. And on a whim, I applied. I was like, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say no. So anyways, it's a pretty rigorous selection process for the Female Forward program. And we went through several rounds of interview and eventually interviewed with producer directors or showrunners of certain shows. And those made their choices. So I was really lucky to be picked for Chicago Med by Michael Pressman, who was the producer director back then. And that changed my life. That whole thing, Female Forward, NBCU has changed my life. I am so, so grateful for this opportunity. Med takes great pride in its details and sort of the medical aspect. It's a show about relationships too, but just in terms of talking about the medical stuff, I learned so much. We actually have medical advisors who come on board. We have meetings with them. So when I get a script and there's all this medical stuff, we actually have meetings about what that means and for questions and answers, for clarifications, like how do we do this? How do we show this? And all of those discussions take place so that by the time I reach the set as a director, I know very well what this condition is about, what this means, and dramatically and sort of behavior wise, what do I need to see on the screen for my, what does my audience need to see and know, right? Because there's a lot of information flowing around too, like da-da-da, and this happened. So you got to get that right, you got to show it right. And there's people, medical advisors who help you through. And I learned so much about surgery. Oh my God, I have a major surgery scene in my episode that you'll see coming up. And so I learned certain nuances, of how things are done, of the terminology, and just shooting it. And at the end of the day, I'm a director, right? I need to get it right. So just capturing the important medical moments, the technical moments, and then of course, there's all the character stuff that's happening, the drama between people. Even if you're just standing in the operation, on the theater over a patient who's open for surgery, there's drama happening between, the people over there. So getting it all right was a lot of fun. Yeah. And we have a big team to support all of that. I've been a fan of this show for a long time and won Chicago. So we all sit down at 8:00, watch Med, then Fire, and then PD. So my teenager is a huge fan too. So we watch the whole thing every week. And it's just it was a real joy to work with actors. I was a fan of them before I came to set. So that was really fun too. I also write, and I'm developing a TV show called Watched, which is based on a novel. And it's a story about a young Muslim teenager in New York City who is forced to become an informant for the authorities. And so it's written by Marina Budhos. It's a YA novel. And I'm really excited to delve into the lives of my communities in New York City.
I don't know what he's doing in my OR.
Got something to say to me?
We're gonna lose if we don't act
I'm
fast.
not gonna let you ruin all my hard work.
I just had to fix your mistake.